Okay, so you're thinking about relocating to Baja. Sunshine beaches, tacos.
Yeah.
I get it. It's a dream for a lot of people. But before you trade in those snow boots for flip-flops,
Right.
we need to talk about the journey south. You sent us a
Yeah.
bunch of questions about Baja border crossings,
Mhm.
and we're here to help you navigate those with insider tips and tricks.
What's fascinating about border crossings is they're often seen as this big, scary hurdle,
Right.
but with the right knowledge, it can be surprisingly smooth sailing. Think of it as the first adventure in your Baja journey.
I love that perspective. And our compass for this adventure is an article from Baja123.com
Okay.
titled Baja Border Wait Times, Your Complete Guide to Fast and Easy Crossings, published just last month.
Wow.
They've really broken down the process in a way that's super helpful for anyone thinking about making the move.
The key takeaway here is that there's no one-size-fits-all approach. It's about understanding the different options and choosing the strategy that best fits your relocation plans and travel style.
Okay, let's unpack that. The article highlights 4 main border crossings: San Ysidro, Otay Mesa, Tecate, and Chaparral. I've heard of San Ysidro. Isn't that the busiest one?
It is, think of it as the Grand Central Station of border crossings.
Oh, wow.
It's the biggest and most well-known, which means it can get pretty congested, especially during peak hours. But it's also got the most lanes and services.
Yeah.
So it can be a good option if you're prepared for a bit of a wait.
Got it. So if you're all about efficiency and maybe not a fan of crowds,
Yeah.
what would you suggest?
Otay Mesa is known for being a bit more streamlined,
Okay.
particularly for those enrolled in the SENTRI program, which we'll dive into later. It's a solid choice if you're looking to shave off some time, and if
Okay.
you're looking for a more relaxed vibe with some scenic beauty. Tecate is the hidden gem of border crossings.
Ooh, scenic beauty. I'm already picturing myself sipping coffee and enjoying the view. What about Chaparral? The article mentioned that it's pedestrian only.
Exactly. Chaparral is the go-to for walkers and those who want a very direct experience. No need to worry about car lanes or traffic jams. It's also a great option if you're planning to take public transportation on the other side, as there are bus services that can connect you to various destinations in Tijuana.
Okay, so you've got the lay of the land with the different crossings, but I'm sure you've got some insider tips on timing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, nobody wants to be stuck in a borderline when they could be out enjoying those Baja sunsets.
You're absolutely right. Timing is everything. As a general rule, weekdays are better than weekends.
Right.
And aiming for those off-peak hours, like early mornings or late nights, can dramatically reduce your wait time.
Yeah.
In fact, the article specifically mentions that for San Ysidro, the sweet spot is between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m.
That's dedication. But hey, a shorter wait time means
Yeah.
more time for exploring, right? Speaking of being in the know, the article also mentioned some tools for getting real-time updates on wait times. That seems like a total game changer.
It really is. There are apps like Border Wait Times and CBX that give you live updates on wait times at different crossings. And don't underestimate the power of community-driven resources. Websites and even Facebook groups dedicated to Baja expats often have up-to-the-minute information on border conditions.
So it's like having a network of border crossing buddies in your pocket. Now, once you've chosen your crossing and have a sense of timing, the next hurdle seems to be those mysterious lanes.
Yeah.
The article mentions SENTRI Ready Lane, and all traffic. Can you decode those for us?
Absolutely. Think of it like choosing your checkout lane at the grocery store. SENTRI is the express lane for frequent travelers.
Okay.
It's a trusted traveler program that requires an application process and a fee, but if you're planning to cross the border, often it's a huge time saver.
So SENTRI is for the Baja regulars,
Right.
those who practically have dual citizenship. What about the Ready Lane?
The ready lane is like the self-checkout lane. It's faster than the regular lane, but you need
Yeah.
to have the right documents.
Got it.
Specifically, RFID-enabled documents like an enhanced driver's license or a newer U.S. passport.
Got it. And then we have the all-traffic lane, which is basically for everyone else.
Precisely. It's the most accessible option, but it's where you'll likely encounter the longest wait times, especially during peak periods.
The article really highlights those SENTRI benefits, but it also cautions against some potential pitfall. Like, what if you're using the SENTRI lane and have a passenger who isn't enrolled in the program?
That's a great point. Using the SENTRI lane improperly can lead to fines.
Oh, no.
So if you're traveling with others, make sure everyone in the vehicle is enrolled in SENTRI.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're better off using the ready lane or the all-traffic lane. It's all about following the rules and being prepared.
Double check those passengers, folks. Now, aside from those main lane options, the article mentions some special crossing options that caught my eye. Tell me more about the Cross-Border Express.
Yeah.
This one seems particularly intriguing for those flying into Tijuana.
The CBX is truly a game changer. It's a pedestrian bridge that connects directly from San Diego to the Tijuana airport, allowing you to completely bypass those regular border lines. Imagine landing in Tijuana and walking straight into the U.S. It's like magic.
Okay, that's seriously impressive. But is it really that simple? What about tickets and documentation?
You do need a CBX ticket, which typically costs between $20 and $30 per person.
Okay.
A small price to pay for the convenience and time savings. And, of course, you'll need your passport and any other required travel documents.
So you buy your ticket, walk across the bridge, and boom, you're in the U.S.
Pretty much. The CBX has its own dedicated U.S. Customs and Border Protection facility, so you can clear immigration and customs right there on the bridge. No need to go through those main border crossing lines. Plus, once you're across, there are plenty of transportation options on both sides, from taxis and rental cars to shuttle services and even buses like the Mexicoach, which can take you to various destinations in Tijuana and beyond.
This is blowing my mind. The CBX sounds like a total must-do for anyone flying in or out of Tijuana.
Yeah.
Like having your own personal border crossing. But what if you're planning to drive down to Baja?
Right.
The article mentions a few important things to keep in mind for those hitting the road.
Absolutely. Driving to Baja gives you that freedom to explore at your own pace, but it also comes with its own set of considerations.
Okay.
First and foremost, you need Mexican auto insurance.
Right.
Your U.S. insurance won't cover you in Mexico, so this is non-negotiable.
Right. Don't even think about skipping this one.
Yeah.
It's not worth the risk.
Another important thing is that driving rules and regulations can be different in Mexico.
Okay.
Speed limits might not be what you're used to, road signs might be in Spanish, and even right-of-way customs might vary. Do your research and familiarize yourself with the basics before you hit the road.
Safety first, always.
All right.
What about that temporary vehicle importation? Permit, the TVIP. When do you need that?
The TVIP. It's basically a permit that allows you to legally drive your vehicle in Mexico beyond a certain zone.
Okay.
You'll need it if you're venturing beyond the free zone. That's the area within 20 kilometers of the border where you don't need the permit. Or if you're staying in Mexico for an extended period.
So do your research and know the rules. Now, beyond the logistics, I'm curious about the experience itself. I mean, border crossings can seem intimidating, especially for first-timers. Any tips on how to stay calm and collected?
Absolutely. First and foremost, be prepared. Have all your documents organized and easily accessible.
Right.
Know which lane you're supposed to be in. And maybe pack a snack and a bottle of water just in case there are unexpected delays.
Great advice.
Yeah.
Nothing makes waiting more stressful than an empty stomach.
Another tip is to be patient and polite. Border agents are just doing their job, and a little courtesy goes a long way. And remember, you're on your way to Baja. That's something to be excited about.
That's a great reminder. Keep your eyes on the prize. Those sunny beaches and delicious tacos are waiting.
Exactly.
Now, the article touched on this briefly, but I'd love to hear more about the cultural differences people might encounter when crossing into Baja. Well, geographically close. I imagine there are some nuances to be aware of.
You're right. There are definitely some cultural differences that can enhance your experience if you're aware of them. For example, greetings and social interactions tend to be a bit more formal in Mexico. A handshake or a nod of acknowledgement is always appreciated.
Right.
And while we're all about embracing that laid-back Baja vibe, it's important to remember that things might move at a slightly different pace. Schedules might be more flexible, and patience is truly a virtue.
Right. It's all about respecting the local customs and embracing that slower pace of life.
Absolutely. It's part of what makes Baja so charming. Also keep in mind that tipping customs are different in Mexico. It's customary to tip service workers, like waiters, bartenders, and hotel staff. A 10–15% tip is standard, but you can always adjust based on the level of service.
Good to know. Now, before we wrap up this first part of our border crossing deep dive, I want to circle back to those special lanes we mentioned earlier.
Okay.
The article called them out as real hidden gems. Can you remind us about the medical pass and the fast pass and who might qualify for these?
The medical pass is designed for those traveling for medical reasons. You usually need a valid prescription or a confirmed appointment at a participating clinic in Baja. It can be a great option if you're seeking medical care across the border, as it can significantly cut down on wait times.
And the fast pass? Is that like the VIP line for border crossings?
It kind of is. The fast pass is a bit more elusive, often offered through specific hotels or medical providers.
Okay.
It's definitely worth inquiring about if you're staying at a hotel or receiving medical treatment in Baja.
Okay. I'm sensing a theme here. Knowledge is power when it comes to border crossing. We've covered a lot of ground in this first part. But before we move on, is there anything else we should keep in mind when it comes to choosing the right lane?
It all boils down to your individual needs and circumstances. If you're a frequent traveler and meet the eligibility requirements, SENTRI is your golden ticket. If you have RFID-enabled documents and want a faster crossing without the commitment of SENTRI, the ready lane is a great option. And of course, the all-traffic lane is there for everyone else.
And don't forget those real-time tools. Checking apps like border wait times or visiting websites like the Cross-Border Express page can give you a real-time view of wait times and help you make those game time decisions.
Exactly. A little preparation goes a long way.
Well, folks, that wraps up part 1 of our deep dive into Baja border crossings.
Wow.
We've explored everything from choosing the right crossing and time to understanding those crucial lane options, and even got a sneak peek into the magic of the CBX.
Right.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
There's still so much more to explore.
In part 2, we'll tackle those all-important documents you'll need to make your border crossing a breeze and dive into some specific scenarios and questions you might have about the process.
Sounds good.
Stay tuned because we're just getting started.
All right.